Welcome back to the Crafty Maven for another Sketch It Thursday. I'm Desiree's Tale here on YouTube, and this is the sketch that I'm going to be using. My good friend Megan used this sketch recently, and as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to use it. So I went through my stash and I found quite a few collections, and then I ended up deciding to go with this one because there isn't much left, and I thought it'd be fun just to kind of show you what I had to work with, and it isn't a whole lot. So anyways, I noticed that a lot of the papers are mostly blue. There is some red. I love that side with the red stars, but I'm going to use this cream side. Now it is a blank, just looks like almost like cream cardstock. And I could have tried to use cream cardstock, but I didn't have anything that matched close to this. Either the cardstock that I had was too yellow or too brown. It just didn't flow like it did with the one that they put in the collection. Now this is a Cocoa Vanilla collection, and it is from Australia, and it's from 2014. This is actually one of her first collections that she released. And it's funny how I found Cocoa Vanilla. It was back when she first came out. I was doing a search and I typed in Cocoa Vanilla, and that wasn't what I was supposed to type in, and I couldn't remember the name that I was trying to remember, and up pops this website. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this boy collection. So I went to order it and I was like, holy moly, like what's going on? And I realized, oh, they're all the way out in Australia. Well, none of the companies here, or companies or stores knew anything about Cocoa Vanilla, and so you couldn't find them here in the US. And in the very beginning of my Cocoa Vanilla obsession, I used to, yes, order it from her directly and pay the shipping to get it to me. But so glad I did, because like I said, I love this collection. So moving on to the layout, I am trying to find some papers because in the sketch it does show a 6x6 paper that is, I think, the very first layer on that cardstock. And I'm trying to figure out which one I could use, and I end up deciding to kind of change it up a little bit, the sketch, to make it my own. And that's when I decided, instead of a 6x6, I'm going to make it really long. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you scrapbook, do you find yourself like having ideas in the beginning, and then when you're done with the layout, you totally forgot the ideas that you had? Oh, it's so frustrating. And that's what happens to me all the time. And I think it's because I only scrapbook on Saturdays, and I get so excited to finally be able to scrapbook in my scrapbooking room. And all these ideas start popping in my head, and then I'm just so excited that I can finally play with some paper, and then I forget. Always. And so here, for example, I showed you in the beginning the other side of that cardstock paper. I love those stars. It's red, it's just more pops of red, and I meant to gut a piece of it. But at the time I was thinking, oh, if it's a 6x6, like it's just going to be a small amount, why even bother? And then when I realized that I was going to go with the bigger one, I'm like, okay, don't forget to do this, Desiree. Well, instead, what do? The banner that you saw, that is the same length of the 12x12 paper, I cut that thinking to myself, I don't want them to see that I'm taking a smaller piece and stretching it, and I cut it, and hello, it was the same size. Like, honestly, I'm like, what were you thinking, Desiree? Apparently you weren't. Because you totally messed it up. And I even tried to think, like, could I go back and try to, like, gut out this paper after this layout's done? But I'm like, no, I'm going to mess it up, trying to get myself a little bit of that other side of that paper. The only reason why I wanted it is to, again, use up everything that I got. So here is where you see everything kind of coming together. And I did use a cut apart sheet that you saw in the very beginning, and one said little man and the other one says that's my boy. I ended up deciding to only use the one that says little man. And I just am trying to bring more red in the triangle in all three areas. And as soon as I put that down, I was like, okay, what else can I use? Because my whole goal is to use up as much as I can of this collection, because like I said, I don't have much of it left. And it's getting down to just little bits and pieces of it. So I was like, okay, the next thing I need to tackle to use some of this stuff is the sticker sheet. And since I don't have embellishments to go with it, then I need to try to use as much as I can for the stickers. And once I saw that one that says number one, I was like, that's perfect, number one little man, because he is. And then I saw this airplane, and look at how perfect it fits underneath the picture. Now you are noticing, I mean, I cut out most of it, but I am using my Scotch Quick Dry or tacky glue, whatever they want to call it now. I am using it for all the stickers, and here's why. The quality of the products are amazing. Now, definitely her stickers have changed as far as the texture and everything, and they're more matte, almost like on paper. And the sticker sheet that it comes on, they're very shiny. So when my end of the photos, you're going to notice that all my lights are off pretty much because they were catching the glare of my alt lights. And they're very, you know, those like window clingy things that, you know, you could do for like different holidays and you can cling them on the window. That's how they kind of feel. Like they're very, not rubbery, but yeah, plasticky rubbery. I don't know how to describe it. But once you take them off the sticker sheet, they don't stick anymore. And I had a, you know, I don't want anything falling off my page. For those of you that are new, that haven't followed me, I talked in the past how after I'd done my son's photo album, things were falling off because I was using that dot adhesive that you see on the right-hand side. And so I feel now that I have to adhere everything with tacky glue because that stuff is permanent and it won't go. And so anytime that I know that there isn't much stickiness, I always add more just for precaution. I still use my dot runner, but only for, because it is archival safe, I only use it for the back of my photos. And then everything else, like paper to paper, I use my, oh gosh, the big pink candle one, my ATG gun. Anyway, so I'm putting all the stars in a couple areas, and I'm really liking how I'm layering everything up. And it's funny how I'm on a strict freeze right now, and it's funny how when you really truly can't shop, you make the best of what you have. And by limiting myself of, okay, I am just only going to use this collection, I find it easier to use more of it. Versus if I just grab a few things and then go, well, I can just keep looking through my stash, I tend to either A, I grab way too much, or B, I don't grab enough, and then I spend too much time trying to look for things that I give up because I just want to keep creating, and then, you know, I don't add a whole lot of details to my layouts, which I don't mind because I do love the clean look. Okay, moving on. Here is the sticker that I'm using, and watch it. I'm going to make the biggest mistake of my life. Not big mistake of my life, but a huge mistake for this layout, and I am going to freak out. No lie. I'm pointing right there that I'm going to add my title. I was going to move it in the section right there, but then I decided that's where I'm going to place my journaling, and I'm going to move my title to the right-hand side. So here it is. I go get my StazOn ink, and I go to stamp it, and I even stamp it on some cardstock just to make sure that everything comes out good. And then I'm going to stamp on that airplane, which I love those airplanes with the little banners. And next thing you know, I go to stamp it, and it moves and slides and becomes like, I don't know, a big mess. Now actually I look at it from there and it looks fine, but it isn't. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta wipe it off. Maybe if I quickly wipe it off, it will come off because it's a slick sticker. No, then I grab my stamp cleaner trying to move that, and I notice that it's starting to lift the paper. So I'm like, you know what, I have to just keep rolling with it. Let me just restamp it again and call it good. And that's what I do. But a little quick story, because it is getting close to the end. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I actually shared this quite about maybe a month ago. My son, sometimes my kids they pack up their own lunch. I will make their lunch, but sometimes if I'm running late, I don't have enough time to pack theirs, and I'll ask them to put everything in their lunchbox. And so I told my son, hey, can you put mommy's lunch in there? I put the salad in the container. And the container is one where it's 3 levels, where you've got your salad. The middle piece is for all the little toppings that you want to put on, and the dressing, and then of course the lid. And when I got to work, I would notice that the lid wasn't on. And I was like, where is the lid? Like, he put it in there without anything. And I was like, oh, he's just a kid, you know, he makes mistakes. And I find this note and it says, "Love you, Mom." And I'm not kidding you. Tears welled up. Everyone's like, "Are you okay?" In the lunchroom, all the teachers were asking. And I'm like, "I'm fine. Look at what my son did." And they're like, "Oh my goodness, super sweet." And you know what? I've only ever put a note in his lunchbox like 5 times. Anyways, guys, that is the story. I hope you guys enjoyed this layout. I am super excited to use up so much stuff. I had so much fun making it, and I love the layout, the look of the final look of it. And thank you so much for joining us here on the Crafty Maven, and you all have an amazing day. Bye!